Welcome back, friends. There are two paths to peace. One is to sacrifice more than you are right now, or two is to lower your expectations, lower your desires. I personally, I enjoy the sacrifice more route, but it's not the only way to peace and happiness. The other is to let go of things that you're not willing to sacrifice for, so you can let go of those desires. If you are okay with a certain level of life, you shouldn't let anyone else tell you you should live higher than that. It reminds me of the story about the Mexican fisherman. A US businessman is on vacation in Mexico when he comes across a fisherman. He sees him catch a fish and he talks to him. He's asking him questions about his business, asking him questions about his life. And he talks to the fisherman and says, what do you do every day? He says, well, I wake up in the morning, I have breakfast with my wife, I go to the pier, I fish all day, I catch fish, I go to the market, I sell it that night, and I head home to hang out with my family and have dinner. And the businessman says, you know what you should do? What you should do is you should go get a loan so that you can go hire a person to fish with you and buy a boat. And he says, why would I do that? So when you buy that boat and you hire that fisherman, you guys can fish and you can catch more fish. So you can get done at the end of the day and you can have more fish to sell at the markets. And the Mexican fisherman says, why would I do that? He says, so when you get those fish and you get that money from selling more fish at the markets every night, you can eventually buy a production plant where you can can the fish. He says, why would I do that? So then you can can the fish and you can export it all across the world and make more money. He said, why would I do that? So when you get to the point that you have this fishing empire, you're able to come home and hang out with your family and fish and hang out with your friends, and you can go and relax and enjoy your life. The Mexican fisherman said, why would I do that? It's what I already have. Sometimes chasing our desires stops us from realizing we have what we have, and it stops us from realizing we are giving up what we actually want in life. We want peace, but we choose partners that give up that peace. We want peace, we want happiness, but we choose a career path that leads us to hate our work. Look into your life and see what you actually want out of it. Who do you want to be? What do you want to have? What do you want to look back by the time you're 70 and say, you know what? I'm glad I did what I did when I was younger. I enjoyed my life. I had fun and had purpose and meaning and enjoyed it. I did what I wanted to do. And I was fulfilled enough for me. Because it's different for all of us. Someone else's path is not your own. But we forget that. We need to take a retrospective look. We need to take a step back and look back on our life and look forward into our future and see what we want to be and find the way to get there. You don't have to want the Ferrari, the Lambo, the Rolex, the big house. It's not necessary. You need a certain level of money to have a comfortable life. Anything above that is excess, and it's not always necessary. You can want it. I want it, but I don't need it. And there's some things I'm unwilling to do, some things I'm unwilling to sacrifice in order to get that. Because my whole life doesn't revolve around money. My whole life doesn't revolve around success and fame and fortune. But when I was younger, I was led to believe that is all that mattered. All that mattered was the numbers in your bank account, the letters behind your name, the prestige that you had. You can work for it. I'm working for it, but you don't need it. And if you don't want to sacrifice for what is necessary to actually obtain your desires, change your desires. Because it's no fun working and grinding at a life, wishing you could afford what you want when you don't actually want it. So many of us get caught up in the trap of keeping up with the Joneses, and we end up living a life we don't recognize and never wanted. And we feel like we didn't choose it because we gave our choices to other people and other people's expectations without thinking of what we wanted. I do want the fancy cars. I do want the nice house. I don't need the biggest house. I don't need the nicest car. I want things that make me have more enjoyment in my life. I want cars that I enjoy. I want a house that's big enough for me to enjoy what's in it. But that's what's more important to me, is what's in it, the people that fill it, the experiences I have in the vehicles I have and drive, and the things I have, the way I use them, and then the house I live in. That's more important to me than any of the specs on the things I have. And I think that should be the same for you. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. But if you don't want to sacrifice for things that you desire, you should let go of that desire. It'll save you from so much contention and tension between your desires and the life you're living. And that gap is the sacrifice you are unwilling to make. So you'll always be a disappointment to yourself. That's not right. That shouldn't be how you live. So be willing to make the sacrifice or get rid of that desire. Alleviate your pain of holding on to that desire, because you will not get it. And that's okay. That's not a problem. But you need to come to terms with that. Live the life you want to live, because you are the one that has to deal with the consequences of living that life. And be proud of it. Be proud of the choices you make. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.